Psychologist says moving house and changing jobs are two of the most stressful events in human life. Most people try to survive them once. Me, I made it 4 times. From the kitchen to the online store, then the ocean to the code editor. 4 separate times. It's messy, it's overwhelming, and yet, it's the only way I learned to survive. Hi, I'm Kevin, and this is my real life story. I still remember it was the summer of 2017, and I was doing a summer school in UC Berkeley. By accident, I saw a TV show about a chef cooking in his fancy kitchen. His movement was like so smooth, so elegant, and everything was look so cool and fascinating to me. That man was Gordon Ramsay, and that show was Gordon Ramsay's ultimate home cooking. So I started to teach myself cooking, and it was okay for a starter. I even invited all my friends to come to my place, and I cooked a table full of dishes for them. They were very impressed. Then one day, we were craving Chinese food, and we stepped into a Chinese restaurant. We ordered 4 dishes. It almost cost us $100. And when we were having a conversation, one of my friends just suddenly mentioned that, I think Kevin's egg fried rice was better than that. She probably wouldn't remember it the moment we left the restaurant, but I listened. I actually went back to the restaurant and asked the owner if I could work there. And of course, they wouldn't let a 20-year-old boy being a chef just because he watched a couple episodes of TV. But they allowed me to work as a busboy, so cleaning tables, washing dishes, peeling potatoes, all that things. I worked really hard, and also I watched and learned how to handle a wok by just watching other chefs work. And one day, after the lunch rush ended, the chef was supposed to cook us family meal, and one of the chefs was like half joking, half serious, and he asked me, "Hey Kevin, why don't you cook us egg fried rice?" So I did. And when I tossed that wok, I didn't drop a single grain of rice. I can still remember their faces. They wouldn't believe that a kid came out of nowhere and learned how to toss a wok that well. After the summer school, I went back to China and I told my parents that I want to be a chef. But my Asian parents said, "No, you won't. You are going to business school." So off I went to business school in Shanghai, where I learned international shipping. I even made a plan to continue learning logistic operations in Cardiff Uni. But then pandemic hit. Everything started shaking. I postponed my entry to Cardiff by 1 year. But it was at the same time e-commerce was surging in China, because everyone couldn't leave their home, so they start shopping online. And everyone around me was talking about get a job in e-commerce company. And I did find an internship in a big e-commerce company, and I started my first career as an operation assistant. That's where I learned Excel, pivot table, macros, and ERP system. I got so good at it. And I started running alone as an operation analyst, managing a 20K per month business. I was the employee of the year. I still kept the trophy. I finally came to Cardiff. It was an amazing year. I met a lot of people, I went to a lot of places, and I even got bulked up a lot. So I'm not skinny anymore. By the time I left the school, I even got myself into a graduate program at the biggest shipping company in China. That made my parents very proud. My first rotation at the company was an investment analyst, running analysis for our subsidiary portfolio. It was a lot of paperwork, a lot of financial modeling in Excel and Power BI, and I even did a presentation to our C-suite leadership about an investment opportunity in EV market. They were all very impressed. My second rotation was Voyage Manager. It's not a very common term in English context, but basically you could imagine it as a project manager on the sea. where each call at berth is basically a project for a ship. Lots of stakeholders to coordinate, lots of deadline to align. Ship crew, port workers, third-party logistic operators, basically everything you would encounter in a modern office work, but on the sea. The third rotation, or rather the settlement, I was still the voyage manager, but the ship changed. After the pandemic, cruise line business started coming back to Shanghai, which opens a vacancy. My manager was very happy with my performance as a voyage manager, so he recommended me for that role. I became the voyage manager for a cruise ship. That was like the job everyone among my peers would ever wanted. The spectrum of the sea from Royal Caribbean, Bellissima from MSC, the Adora Magic City, the first China-built cruise ship, the World, the cruise ship that traveled global, and the Amsterdam, the only one remaining electric-powered clipper. I was the first one on board and the last one to debark. I could watch the sunrise in the buffet and staring at the sea level from the bridge. Very soon, I had my first maiden voyage to manage, fully in charge. Blue Dream Melody. The day it arrived at the northbound terminal, I was the first one to witness its arrival. During that same period, I met the woman I married, and yes, I'm still married, but very soon I was about to make a decision that would change my life again. Marcy has a very focused career track compared to me. About 1 year after we married, she is headed for the jewel on the crown, a PhD researcher in her area. I had to make a choice between the job I love and the person I love. Or maybe that wasn't even a choice at all. I was moving to the UK. I didn't just come to the UK without a plan. I did my research beforehand. I put my skills into the search box as a keywords: logistic, Power BI, Excel, SQL, and I did a math about the job title that hits those keywords most frequently: data analyst. Okay, so I thought I'm going to be a data analyst in the UK, and it worked. I found my first job in the UK as an entry-level data analyst in a tech company. The job was about to extracting data from carbon project documents and input those data into a local platform. This was like the most challenging job for me so far. It's not because of work itself, but because of the cultural difference. There was a lot of knowledge I know very well in my language, but it took me months mapping them into English context. Once I did, I found myself very good at it. I even found and sold to data entry logic error that no one noticed before. But in December 2024, a quarter of the staff was laid off due to a change in strategy, even including the hiring manager who hired me at the first place. I realized that day might come for me very soon. May 2025, the day I lost my job, I was feeling okay at the time. We even had a dinner together. I guess that's because the first job came so easily and I had completely no idea what I gonna go through in the next 6 months. So first month, 100 applications, 0 response. I guess that was the end of my luck. The company stopped hiring for entry-level job, and the big changes on my resume certainly doesn't pass the ATS filter. Feeling lost and desperate, I was influenced by career coaching videos on the YouTube, and they all said, you need upskill. So I did. I started the Google Advanced Analytics Skills course on Coursera, and I pushed myself really hard to finish it in 3 months. I also tried to catch up with the AI trend, learning a bunch of new tools: Snowflake Cortex, Coding Agent, N8N Workflow, and I got to vibe coding some project with Cloud Code and Cursor. I managed to learn them all. Adding those keywords to my resume did improve my interview conversion rate, so I got more interviews. But it all stopped at the second stage. We appreciate your effort, but we decided to go with another candidate with a closer experience. That's the top reason I saw on my rejection letters. The gap on my resume was just getting even bigger, and I knew I need to find something to fill the gap. And my wife recommended me for voluntary opportunities. It's a pro bono job. It's good enough to get more practical experience and fill the gap. It's better than nothing. We actually did pretty well. My wife was the UX designer and I was the backend developer. And also met our third member of the team, the AI agent who acting as our front-end engineer. We worked seamlessly and we built an app that actually works. And we bought that app to 5 under-resourced schools in rural China. So in order to collect their data, obviously I couldn't just assume they all had smartphones. So I built an automated ETL pipeline that extracts data from their handwritten documents and transform it into a structured dataset. These projects are real. You can find them on my personal website. And yes, I built my own website as well. I used a WordPress template, but it turns out pretty well. I was very proud of it. So that's my life story so far, and looking back, I didn't realize there were any connections between my different careers. I thought I was just trying to adapt, but recently I realized that whether it was the kitchen, the online store, the ship, or the database, I was always trying to be a problem solver. I know I wouldn't call myself a data specialist yet, but I believe I'm getting there. And I think by recording the process of it might just help some other people who are just as struggling as I am during a pivot. So regarding what you can expect on my channel, considering this video as a trailer, I have 2 ongoing projects. One I plan to call it the True Grind, which records 4 days in a row, show you the whole process of how I build the OCR intelligence ETL pipeline, what troubles I encountered and how I put it through eventually. And by the way, I was also filming myself cooking 2 meals a day in between the grinding. So make sure to check that out. And the other one is a travel vlog. It was filmed the last Christmas when we drove to Belfast, the capital of Northern Ireland. So if you are a huge fan of Game of Thrones or movie Titanic, you don't want to miss that. Or you just simply want something less serious. After all work no play make Kevin a dull boy. So if you like my story, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. And also if you want to check out my projects, the link is down below in the bio. Alright, take care and I will see you next time.